So I'm talking about ways that we can support our engineering students as they go on their first internship or co-op work term. And why is this important? Why are we doing? I don't think anyone will be surprised that there are fewer women in engineering than there are men. And this is often blamed as a pipeline issue that, women are simply not available to take on these roles. But what we've seen is a steady increase over the last 20 years in the percent of women who are pursuing undergraduate studies in engineering. At MAC, we're actually at 47% in our first year. In Ontario, the undergrad population is just over a quarter women. But the number of newly licensed engineers, so this is engineers at least 4 years post-graduation, who get a professional license as an engineer, is less than 20% and has been stuck there for a number of years. In fact, the overall percentage of women who are licensed engineers in Ontario is around 13%, which has been, again, fairly consistent over a number of years. So we're not seeing that progression to traditional engineering professions, although, the percent of women who complete engineering degrees that start engineering degrees is in fact higher than the percent of men who start engineering degrees and then go on to finish them. So they're very successful in undergraduate, but for some reason they're not choosing to pursue careers that are viewed as traditional engineering careers that would, for example, lead to licensure. So why is that? Certainly there's lots of space to talk about the chilly climate in engineering workplaces. I think Erin's talk showed how real a thing that is, even in gender-balanced professions. But one of the things that inspired this work was that there's evidence that those first internship experiences that students have often are the things that turn their career intentions away from pursuing a traditional engineering career. Typically when they go into engineering, all students are envisioning themselves doing engineering as their career. But after this internship experience, more men are and fewer women are. So something is happening on that internship. Again, we can talk about workplaces as the instigator, but what can we do to change that narrative? Because in some cases, women are having lovely experiences on their internship, and that's great. But that one transitional experience during an internship can be the thing that changes the rest of their lives. So that if you happen to land in one of several, but in one place that's not welcoming, women are blaming themselves rather than blaming their environment. So this, again, work was inspired by work by Dr. Dasgupta, who's done some really exciting work on the effect of gender-matched mentors. So in particular, what she did was look at how effective gender-matched mentors were during that transition time in first year engineering. And what she showed is that they looked at what happened to women engineering students who had no mentors, who had male mentors, or who had women mentors. And for those who had no mentors or men as mentors, their confidence steadily declined through their engineering experience. She has similar data around performance, et cetera, and career intentions. But women who had women mentors during that first year transition had fairly stable, perhaps slightly increasing confidence over that time, even when they didn't remember that they had a gender-matched mentor in their first year. So quite a powerful protective mechanism. So our thought was that providing this kind of support during this, again, very transitional time could have very important effects on career intentions. The other side of this is that we actually see that new grads can often struggle in their careers. They can feel quite isolated. They are moving from a place where they've at least built up a supportive environment in their academic space to a workplace where not only are they very underrepresented in terms of gender, if we look at the data, 13% in workplaces, that's quite different from what the students themselves have experienced. But also they're younger than many of their colleagues, so they can feel a real sense of isolation. And in Canada, we don't have one solid organization that supports students like that. And anecdotally, I've also known that women who have been very active supporting other women engineers during their undergraduate experience now have no outlet. They have more time on their hands, but no opportunity to support others anymore, even though they're very motivated. So are there ways that we can help those folks as well? And linked to that is there's some really interesting research that shows just the act of mentoring and supporting others actually can improve people's dedication to their careers and self-worth. So the structure that we're planning is to recruit women who are going out on their internship. So for 12 or 16 months. So we're just starting recruiting within the next month, hopefully. And recruit about 100 of them. Half of them will be matched with a mentor and half of them won't. So the half that won't be matched with a mentor will still send monthly emails saying, here's a great resource to check out, listen to this podcast, watch this video. And then the ones who are matched with a mentor, we're going to send that same material out as a basis for discussion between the mentor and mentee. Because another thing that happens quite often is when all you do is provide a non-structured partnership, it often fails because people don't know what to do with it. So we're trying to provide some structure to help people start those relationships and conversations. And we're going to ask people to meet approximately monthly to have these conversations. We're starting with women. Eventually, if this is successful, we would like to extend it for other equity-deserving groups. But as a pilot, we're starting with women. So recruiting about 50 mentors from ideally relatively new grads. They don't have to be McMaster engineering grads, but that's the group we'll have the greatest access to. So what do we think is going to happen? Again, based on the work by Dasgupta and moderated potentially by social cognitive career theory, we think that we're going to do survey-based measures at 3 different time points, sort of the start, the middle, and the end of that relationship. And we think that the students and probably also the mentors will feel a higher sense of belonging or maintain their sense of belonging, self-efficacy, feel lower anxiety and threat, higher motivation or challenge, and increased intentions to pursue engineering careers compared to those who do not have mentors. We do think that it'll be moderated by workplace inclusion culture. So if they're in very inclusive workplaces, the effect of the mentor is likely to be less. We're also, of course, going to do some demographic checks and see what the effects are of those intersectional pieces. And we're very interested as well in understanding if those are true for mentors. So these are the pieces that I would love feedback and suggestions and ideas on. If you think the structure is all wrong, tell me now. If you have great ideas about different validated measures that we should be looking at, tell me now. That would be really helpful. Okay, so the work is funded by Cooperative Education and Integrated Learning Canada. So we're grateful to them for their support. And I look forward to hearing your suggestions. Thank you.